I'm gonna show you guys a bunch of tools that will replace all of these for a fraction of the cost, saving you a bunch of money. So I'm just like you, I'm the average home woodworker, and nothing grinds my gears more than watching some of these rich woodworkers telling you how to build something.
Square it up and then throw it through the wide belt.
Yeah, thanks. Let me grab that $10,000 tool out of my drawer.
Ridiculous.
So today I'm gonna show you some of the tools that I use so I didn't have to buy all this expensive machinery. So the first tool that I do not own, which is kind of a weird thing to brag about,
Even though I'm poor?
is the drill press. I don't have one, but what I do have is this drilling hole jig. This one actually comes with a track rail system. So if you ever need to drill multiple holes all in a straight line, the track rail system will make sure that you get that straight line. Are you ever gonna use that feature? Probably not.
But it's cool.
One day I will be making a workbench with a bunch of dog holes in it, and yeah, maybe I'll use it for that. Other than that, maybe not. But that's not the important thing. This is. This thing works as a mini drill press. It's obviously got your chuck in here, so you can fit pretty much any bit that you would in a regular size drill press in this mini one. And it's also got spring action to pull that piece back up so it never gets stuck. Well, I shouldn't say never.
Never say never, but you know, probably.
And it has a depth stopper too, in case you only want to go down so far, just like your normal drill press. But even with all this stuff, that is not the coolest feature of this thing. The coolest part is it's about 3 pounds, maybe 3.5. And why is that a good thing? Oh, I'll show you. Nothing is worse than trying to drill a hole and then having it come out at a 60-degree angle. It's insanely frustrating. I mean, I can't be the only one that struggles with that, right?
Yeah, we all got problems.
But now since this thing is portable, you can get perfect 90-degree holes where you need to on those big projects where you're not going to be able to put it in a drill press anyways. Because let's be honest, when we need those perfectly straight holes, they're in locations where you can't even use a drill press anyways. And let's say you want one on the side of a table leg. You can even rotate this thing and go in sideways if you really need it. So to be honest, a benchtop drill press really isn't that expensive, but if you want a freestanding one, they do get really pricey. But you can go ahead and pick one of these up for less than half the price of one of the benchtop drill presses. I'll admit there's definitely some pros and cons between the two, but for me, I'm gonna save the money, and I really like the added features of this thing. So you're never gonna guess what these are gonna help you replace.
What could it be?
So these word gizmos are track rail clamps. These are super high quality, come at a great price, especially when you don't have to pay for something like this.
Can you afford that?
So how the hell can these help replace something like that? You do gotta get a little hands-on and build a jointing sled. It's a little bit like this one. You can put them on your table saw so you can get a nice, clean, straight cut on the edge of your wood. Pretty much exactly like a jointer would do, but without those insane jointer costs. And plus, think of all that extra room you'll have.
Aerobics in here? So many activities!
So I do actually have a jointer. This is a 4-inch Homecraft with a 25-inch bed on it. I think it's from like the 1930s. I actually bought this when I first started getting into woodworking. It's actually a jointer table saw combo. The belts are connected to the same motor, so if you're using the jointer, the table saw is also running. Not the safest tool, but I got it for 40 bucks. It was a deal.
Was it worth it?
But just having over a 2-foot bed makes it really difficult to joint longer boards. Makes it pretty hard to joint boards that are over 4 feet long. A lot of the smaller benchtop jointers like this are really not all that expensive, but if you want a nicer one with a longer bed, they get up there. So I don't think buying one of these smaller benchtop jointers would be a bad idea. And then any bigger material that you're using that you need jointed, you can run through your table saw on this jointing jig. So instead of spending a bajillion dollars on a brand new jointer, all you gotta do is grab yourself a scrap piece of MDF, get some of these clamps, and you can joint as much as you want. And don't forget to subscribe because we're going to be building this jig along with a bunch of other ones that you're going to want to see that are also going to help out you and your woodworking. Now this thing is going to replace probably the most expensive thing a woodworker is going to own. No, it's not the beer fridge.
That's my guess!
So this crazy thing is a router sled, and it's going to do exactly what one of these crazy expensive planers can do for just around 100 bucks. Well, that's a deal if I've ever heard one. And if I could recommend one thing that you guys actually check out in this video, it would be this thing. It's gonna let you mill down whatever you want. All you need is this sled, a router, and a flat piece to work on.
That's it? That's it?
All you gotta do is connect your router to the universal, well, I'm not sure what this part's called. Kind of just like this. Ooh. And You ready to rock and roll?
Rock and roll!
And just like I said, this thing is universal, but this router is a little bit overkill for this. But it is the only one I have because I'm cheap. But a smaller, more compact, preferably cordless, would be a much better router for this setup. But since you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you're not some rich guy that's got 10 pairs of routers sitting around.
We have like no money.
So because this thing is so cheap, it does have a few drawbacks. Whenever you want to plane a piece of material, you do have to secure it to your flat surface using one of these. These are going to be used to tighten down your material onto the board so that they're not going to go anywhere. So there is quite a bit more work involved with planing down material using this. And if you want to plane down a lot of stock or a mountain of pallet wood like I have over here, this obviously isn't feasible. So for that reason, I have a planer. It's right there in the shot. And I wouldn't recommend buying one of these to replace one of these smaller planers. I love my planer. I use it all the time. But at the time, I paid $350 for that thing. I'm sure it's a lot more expensive now.
Inflation's a bitch, kid.
And it's only 11.5 inches. So when this thing comes into play is when you need to plane down anything larger than say 12 inches or a standard planing size. Because once these planers get over 12 inches, the price skyrockets. And let's be honest, how often are you planing anything bigger than 12 inches? So in my shop, I have my little lunchbox planer for anything smaller than 12 inches. And anytime I gotta do something bigger like a cutting board or a tabletop, I got this thing for it. And even with this big bulky handle, you are still getting about 18 inches of planer area. That's a whole 6 more than with your standard planer. And let me tell you, 6 inches is a lot.
For you, maybe.
But even if $100 for this thing kind of freaks you out, you definitely can build your own. I have my own right here. I use this one for projects that are larger than 18 inches. This one goes up to 24. But making your own out of wood is great and everything, but it does come with a few drawbacks. Having it be made out of this wood, the router likes to grip it a little bit more, not giving it nearly as smooth of a glide as the aluminum. And there's also the human error factor. This thing does a great job at making things super flat, but it's just never going to be as accurate as this machined aluminum. Plus, eventually, this thing's going to wear out, and this thing will never wear.
Material is indestructible.
So if you guys are running into the same issue I did, where you need to be able to plane something bigger than 12 inches, but you don't want to spend the $500 million on a planer, for sure check this out. It's cheap, reliable, accurate. You just really can't beat it. So this is one of the smartest cheap tools I've seen in a long time. Now this is a panel clamp, and this right away, I know what you're thinking. Why is it in pieces?
Did you break something?
That's because this is one of the first adjustable panel clamps. Every woodworker starting out has made charcuterie boards, cutting boards, things where a panel clamp would come in really handy, but they come at a price, and you need more than one. Now, let me show you why I actually prefer this one to the expensive.
Because of the money.
But for that, we're gonna have to grab a piece of wood. So since this is a much cheaper panel clamp compared to the complete aluminum one that you see, we do have to do a little bit of woodworking to get this set up. But we're supposed to be woodworkers, right? We can accomplish that. So all you gotta do is rip down a board about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, which is a perfect use for all those scrap 2x4s you got. Because I know everyone's got scrap 2x4s. So with just a rip of your table saw, you get to determine how long you want your panel clamps. And just like that, you have a panel clamp that's a fraction of the cost of the big stores. This clamp took me about 10 minutes to put together, and I'm already clamping up wood. And I know only having one of them is inconvenient, but for only 50 bucks, it does come with a whole nother one.
Something's missing.
Oh. It comes with a whole nother one. And other panel clamps only have an adjustable range of so much. Since you are able to rip the board that you want, you get to pick the size. And I already know what you might be thinking. You could just buy an F clamp for about 10 bucks, save even more money. Well, there is a big difference between an F clamp and a panel clamp. You can see that F clamps only put pressure on the ends of the board. Meanwhile, a panel clamp will put pressure on the edge, the top, and the bottom. Meaning that your glue ups are gonna come out a lot straighter and saving you a big headache later. That way, if you're starting out and you want to try some cutting board, don't get scared of the clamp prices. Pick up one of these. It'll help you out a lot and make your product turn out a lot better. So here are all the cheap tools that I love using. They save me a lot of money because I got other things I need to buy. But don't forget to grab a beer and build something.